Primal Lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Wave. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Wave is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico de Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico de Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our health and regain our rights and freedoms. I'm Paige Clarke. Good morning.
And it's a beautiful day in downtown Clearwater. Very foggy, 65 degrees, but it's going to be a beautiful day going up to the 80s. So this is the time to come to Florida, folks. You need to be here instead of up north.
Well, it looks like we're colder everywhere, doesn't it? As we listen to our friend David Dubine of Adapt 2030 and a lot of these other sites like Next Grand Minimum, we're going to go over some of that after we cover the Health Signals newsletter, right?
Oh yeah, Health Signals newsletter. I got one out right now. And,
good stuff.
Yeah, I just want to go over a couple things. We went over this article a couple of weeks ago, the scary truth about what's hurting our kids, and we're talking about social media here and how the effect is.
Oh, look at the shape of the neck. I mean, if you just ever look around a restaurant or anything, everybody's got their neck in that
Even
position.
walking down the street, I see it. I see mothers with babies, and they're not connecting with the baby. They're on the phone while they're going for a stroll. Or
we're in a restaurant, and you know, I like to look around to see how many people are conversing at a restaurant, or they're both on their phones. I mean, I get it. I mean, sometimes I catch myself, but I'm trying to be very conscious of that. You know, check, or if you have to, check and then say, okay, I'm putting it away now.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Researchers have identified a genetic reason why some people seem to age faster than others. We talked a
little bit about that, the volcanic soil.
GMOs, of course. Other thing here is the flu shot scientifically proven to weaken the immune system, so that's really a good reason.
Only makes sense if you don't think about it.
Daydreaming is good, remember? We talked about that too. And
so folks, you know what? When you take a look at our newsletter, we kind of collate information that's fascinating, cutting edge, trending in the field of living a better lifestyle all the way around. And we put it all into a great newsletter for you.
Yeah, great. Global cooling is another one, and something about cryptocurrency. This is Adapt 2030's.
The Anchorus platform, which David Dubine of his website is oilseedcrops.org, and his YouTube station is Adapt 2030. He's really given us an idea of how those of you that are in the traditional financial investment world can kind of bridge the best of both worlds with crypto investing and traditional finance. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. Here we are.
It's right around the corner.
Golly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You done finish your shopping and everything?
Of course not. I am doing that Amazon. I did an Amazon thing last night. And I tend to be a procrastinator about shopping because I'm just going to say it, I'm not a shopper. Believe it or not.
Really?
Believe it or not, I'm really not a big shopper. And
guys are buyers. They're not shoppers.
Yeah.
They just go out and buy something and come back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what my favorite shopping day is.
What?
Right after, not the day after Christmas, but that day or so after Christmas, because they're kind of clearing things out. We live in Florida, so I'm sort of motivated to buy some, cold weather gear, because we're actually having maybe a couple.
Good time to buy ornaments.
Yeah, but at the same time, I just feel that this whole holiday thing has become so much about the things.
No doubt.
And the best, the good thing about things is, or the best things about things is not things. And I think I see all the craziness, and I mean, I see people, even like my own kids, and they give me they say I'm like the Grinch. Oh, you're not as fun you used to be about Christmas. I see how it just drags them down, and then 3 months later, everyone's broke, So it's a little bit of a frustration there.
Yeah, for me, it's about family.
Yeah, exactly. Getting together.
Okay, let's talk a little bit. Oh, I'd like to remind you folks, of course, to pick up the Primal Edge, too.
That's right. Stay healthy through the holiday season.
Yeah.
And pick up the Health Signals newsletter, and you can call us if you're up and at it. Give us a call. 877-927-6648.
So this first article is a weak solar activity in the La Nina. This is talking about the grand solar minimum naturally, and what they've focused on here is the cycle of the 11-year cycle, which is 144 months. And we're right here at this red right now, which is about 111, 112.
So it really gives you an idea, and this is a graph depicting the activity of the sun.
Sunspots.
Of the sunspots.
And this is particular sunspots in the activity of the month of 108. So it's 132 months approximately in each solar cycle. And we're in 108, well, we're 111 now, it's something like that.
You know what, folks? This should appeal to you, all this stuff we're talking about.
Well, these are graphs, yeah.
Yeah, they're graphs, guys. You guys are traders that are watching this show, hopefully.
Yeah. So this red line depicts
sense.
where we are, and this blue line is kind of the average of all the 108 months in all the different solar cycles. So you can see we're way below the line here. This depicts the number of sunspots in that particular 108. And you can see that we're the second or third most blank days.
Meaning blank days of low solar spots activity.
No spots.
Low solar activity, folks, means that we're going to see greater volcanism, as David Devine has taught us. You're going to see greater crazy weather changes, more extreme weathers.
It seems like.
Sure, we sure have.
So that means we're about maybe another year, maybe a year and a half to 2 years into 24 will end at that time. So we'll be starting solar cycle 25, which is the low end of the spectrum. Remember, this was a maximum.
Yeah.
Even though it was a low maximum.
Yeah, we're coming off of a low maximum into a low. So
into a low, so that means...
So, guys, what we're trying to tell you is we live in an upside-down world, and much of what you hear, the propaganda in the news that we have global warming, is kind of a half-truth. I mean, we were at a global warm period, a small one.
It ended about 88, 98.
Yeah,
that was
and
now it's going downhill.
So a lot of work's been built around finding a way to
the bakers and farmers struggle to make any dough on the poor wheat crop, and this comes out of Chicago and Manitoba, and they're saying now that the wheat really doesn't have a lot of quality to it.
Yeah, I saw that. They said that the protein content
is low.
Is 2 to 3. For the last 2 years, the protein content in wheat has really, really dropped.
Yeah.
Although I don't really consider it a great protein source.
Well, no, but just imagine the animals are gone, so you don't have anything. Now you're counting on some protein, and what we have stored is probably grains.
Right.
And now the grains that we're getting over the next cycle may be so low that we have very little protein in there. That means our health goes downhill. So you can see that during grand solar minimums, how that can happen. The meat's being gone, people switch over to eating the wheat and the vegetables and things like that. But when these things also have no protein in them, then we get starvations and things. And the people who have the goods still survive, but the people who are struggling out there probably.
And this was primarily 2 years of heavy spring rains in Kansas, one of the big areas of where we grow wheat in this country. Yeah. They've sapped that protein level. So, guys, all this stuff we've been learning from David Devine at Adapt 2030. Tune into his station. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive.
We take it every morning. Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
In the last few months, we were really talking about the grand solar minimum, and we also been talking about how our diets have changed from eating primarily animals to switching over to plants, and then later on maybe to grains and things like that, and how our health has deteriorated because of that. And I found this interesting article, Healthy Diet, that depends on your genes. It comes from noridge.com, and it is referencing a recent published Cornell University study describes how shifts in diets of Europeans after the introduction of farming 10,000 years ago led to a genetic adaptations that favored the dietary trends of the time. Now, they say 10,000 years ago. This is when people started adapting to it, but I think Europe was way behind the times. I think it was the Mid-East that was primarily using grains and things like that, and it started switching over maybe to Southern Europe maybe 8,000 to 6,000 years ago, and after that to more towards Northern Europe. But it's
it's interesting because, obviously we know that Europeans were primarily meat eaters prior to this 10,000 years, and then it was kind of this advent of farming in Southern Europe about 8,000 years ago, and we started to see more plants. And the study at Cornell says that was the first to separate and compare adaptations that occurred before and after the Neolithic Revolution. And it reveals that these dietary practices are reflected in some of our genes as European folks.
Exactly. The study shows that a striking role diet has played in the evolution of human populations. So because we've switched, somewhere along the line, our genes became a little bit more compatible with the plant-based diet.
Well, this is just proof.
For some people,
this
not
proof,
all people.
Nico, our genes are a blueprint. Our genes are changeable. The epigenetics, they are. It says the study has implications for the growing field of nutrigenomics, notice nutritional genomics, called nutrigenomics, but based on one's ancestry, clinicians may one day tailor each person's diet to his or her own genome to improve health and prevent disease. And that's why what we've been saying for years, even before Cornell did their study, maybe they've been listening to our show.
I'm sure they have.
But the point here is that our there's a part of medicine that wants you to think you've been dealt your cards. You got to lay them on the table. What you have in your genes is not changeable. Not true. Not true at all. Bruce Lipton, in his work with cell biology, has proven the genes are malleable. They're changeable, and they change based on the conditions. And that's the beauty of the Supreme Creator.
Right. So we switched over to a lot of plants about 8,000 or 10,000 years ago, or 6,000 years ago, or 4,000 years ago. But remember, there's many, many plants that were introduced in the 17 and 1800s that Europeans never had before. And these are primarily a lot of the foods that we eat today. When we're talking about all the nightshades, they're all American foods, all North and South America. Potatoes, same thing. Tomatoes, of course, eggplant, all kinds of beans. We never had beans over in Europe at all until they were discovered over here and then brought back. So this, they think, is where the shift starts taking place. We're not doing that bad on plant food. Of course, we dropped in height. We dropped in weight. Our bones aren't as strong. Our jaws have come in.
Right, yeah, we don't have that wide jaw.
But the real whack came to Europeans because of the nightshades, the potatoes, and those things. Maybe they saved their lives at one point. We started embracing them. Some of them people like the taste, but we really weren't brought up on these foods, these newer foods, like corn is one of them. And now we bring it over to even more change is the GMOs that we talk about.
Well, these are just frankenfoods that we don't really know where they come from. And, I just thought, it just popped in my head, gosh, I love Jack Cruse's work. And, he talks about a chronobiology mismatch, chronobiology or seasonal mismatch, like eating a banana in Canada just doesn't make sense.
Even in the winter or in the summer.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So we really need to match our food selections to both the season and the fauna, flora and fauna of that area. Right?
Yeah, that just makes sense. And so you can see how our health has gone downhill step by step, and introducing all these more foreign foods, and now we see a lot of genetically things taking place. And some of them may be good things. We are right at the tipping point now where we're almost can take our gene out of our body, manipulate it, and put it back and see how we do. And this is what's happening. And I've got a couple of articles that talk about this. But I thought it was interesting. Frequency increased as a result of natural selection when vegetarian farmers with this adaptation had health advantages to allow them to have more children. Now, this is interesting.
Well, they were talking about the fact that when we introduced the heavier vegetarian diets, just to get the perspective here, when the vegetarian diets of European farmers, this led to the increased frequency of an allele, which is an expression in the DNA, that encodes cells to produce the enzymes to digest. So then natural selection allowed the mothers to pass it down, so we continued to survive. There is a desire to survive.
Isn't it interesting, at least to me it's very interesting, that this allowed them to have more children, which farmers need. You need people working in the fields because it's a labor intensive. We started working much harder to plant and get these seeds and these plants out so we can eat them. So that's a lot of hard work. So we started working a lot harder, which means we need a lot more people. So farmers intrinsically always have more children. And here we have
So this goes into detail about some specific genes that code for digesting certain fatty acids, but the analysis of the ancient DNA revealed that prior to humans farming, the animal-based diets of European hunter-gatherers predominantly favored an opposing gene that we find now in the farmer or agrarian gene pool. And so, what we're seeing is that there's been a big change that has allowed us to adapt to the food that we're using.
Right. Analysis of ancient DNA revealed that prior to human farming...
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
So all farmers rely heavily on plant-based diets, but that reliance was stronger in the South as compared to Northern Europeans, whose farmer ancestors drank more milk and included seafood in their diets. I think of kind of maybe like off Scotland and stuff. They had a lot of dairy.
And Norway and things like that, yeah. And then in the South, the seafood would be different than in the North, too. And yeah, so it just makes a lot of sense.
It says here plant-based alleles, or these genes that allow you to deal with the plant-based, regulate cholesterol levels and have been associated with risks of many diseases, including inflammatory bowel disease, cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and bipolar. So this researcher said he wants to see how different individuals respond differently to the same diet.
Yeah.
And future studies will investigate links on how. You know, I think we really, truly will be getting more and more where we're creating personalized health programs. We're not all the same. And
well, especially if you're eating plants. I think animals, if you're brought up on that, I think much easier to simulate, less problems. Whereas with plants, you're going to have some problems. Certain populations are going to have certain problems with it. And the other part of that is people who have brought up vegetarian and then switch to a meat-based diet don't do very well because they don't have...
They've sort of adapted to it, yeah.
Adapted to it, yeah. Stick around, folks. We've got a lot more. The number here is 877-927-6648. Give us a call if you like.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back, Living a Primal Lifestyle. You know, we were just talking about how our genes have been impacted over time, and found this article in Newsweek. An ancient gene called Thor may be a secret weapon against cancer. And, you know, we've heard of Thor, the fictional, powerful man god who possessed...
The hammer.
Yes, the hammer. He was strong and wonderful. He may have also been able to help fight cancer. Well, not exactly Thor, but Thor, which is a novel gene discovered and named by researchers from the University of Michigan's Comprehensive Cancer Center. They've been investigating a previously unexplored area of the genome, and they stumbled on non-coding RNA. We're going to talk more about the RNA, or the messenger part of the DNA. You know who writes about that all the time? Real big researcher is Sayer G at Green Med Info.
Yep.
So, you know.
Well, they refer to this phenomenon as a conversation. They are interested in such genes because these are highly conserved. That is, they've been around for a long time, unchanged through evolution, and probably crucial for life. So they've narrowed down that there's certain genes that change, and some do never change. Probably.
Yes, kind of a specific form of RNA that just stays constant. And these genes that are evolutionarily conserved are likely important for biological processes. And the fact that they found Thor to be a highly conserved RNA was exciting. And so this, at the University of Michigan, they're really diving down into this. And they actually have, Thor is actually an acronym, but it does, you know, it is neat.
It fits.
Yeah.
It's important to know that.
Testis-associated, highly conserved, oncogenic, long non-coding RNA. That's the words for it, actually.
It's important to note that the research published in the journal Cell was done on human cancer cells and various animal models. Both were part of basic laboratory research. More study needs to be done, blah, 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 of course. They explored the relationship between Thor and insulin-like growth factor binding protein, and they have an acronym for that, which are believed to assist in keeping the RNA stable. So this stableness is what they want to try to capture.
Yeah, I want to talk more about RNA, Nico. I'm glad you brought this article up because, you know, where previously scientists thought that RNAs were part of the junk DNA, but this perspective is rapidly changing over the past decade or so. And in 2015, a literary review published in the journal Oncogene, you know, identified that this is not a junk area. They're actually looking more closely. Now, many more researchers are dedicating their time to understanding the role of these genes, the RNA genes, the messenger RNA type stuff in genes. Despite these many new findings, the mechanisms of RNA in human diseases in general and cancer in particular still remain largely unknown, but we now know this is an area of heavy research.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Remember, I think it was the last show we talked about the type of food we live on, and you said, well, you know, there's certain people that probably can live on air. And I said, well, I don't. But here I found something, an Antarctic microbe that can survive on air alone. So here you go.
There you go. There is life. Well, and this kind of, let's go beyond this. I mean, as we see how we can change, just before we go into this article, just to set the stage, because you and I have had this conversation, breatharians or sun gazers often go years without food because...
I've never met any of them.
Well, I haven't either, but I've seen them. I've seen some videos of them.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, you know, I don't know.
Well, the reason I brought this up, and I thought it was very interesting, because it's in the Antarctic, which is cold. So are they actually surviving on air, or are they just in stasis?
Because of the temperature difference.
Because of the temperature difference.
And we know that cold actually really helps us increase our survivability.
Well, there's certain things that we've had people that have been plunged into a cold and survived for 15 minutes under the water. They kind of go into a comatose state, and they can be revived. I mean, that's been proven over and over again. So there are many adaptations that we have that we maybe don't understand. This talks about the soil microbes that live in polar regions must contend with extremely dry conditions, nutrient-poor dirt, and 24-hour darkness for half the year. Now, a gene study of some of these microbes, survivors revealed that they pull it off by gleaming trace gases right out of thin air.
Okay, so that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yes.
Breatharians and sun gazers are using the electromagnetic resource of ether or the light spectrum.
Yeah.
And I would argue that what Fritz Albert Popp taught us, is that we're not eating food because we need the vitamin D, so to speak, or we need the vitamin A. We need the light spectrum, or even we could go as far as to say the sound spectrum, the frequency.
Well, frequency, the energy, let's say.
The energy of that item. So I think there's a day that we may, you know, have like a little satchel. Do you remember how Indians would have a thing around their neck, and maybe it would be some, I don't know, it might even be the bones of an ancestor or an animal that they thought was brave, or
maybe an herb of some kind.
Or an herb. It was an herb of some kind. Or if you Google iodine lockets, all right, so we talk about how iodine is critical. Back in 1890, women and people wore iodine lockets. And it was to have their iodine close to them because it was both the master antioxidant and the master antibiotic until petrochemicals came along and Rockefeller did the Flexner report. But my point is, there's something about having a substance in your field. That's where the kind of energetic testing takes place. You take a substance, you put it in your field. If you test strong, it's increasing your energy field.
Well, if we have any people out there that are surviving just on sunlight, I'd like to have you on as a guest on the show, because I've never met anybody like that. And although I've heard of it, I've never seen it or felt it or met anybody. So that's
yeah, well, I've seen a couple of people that were interviewed, and they've been like for a year or something without eating, just water and sunlight and breathing. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's pretty.
No, not one I want to take. I enjoy it too
well,
much.
we do. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we also look at the, you know, the enjoyment of our food. But that is interesting, Nico, that we realize there are microbes that do live that way.
Or maybe they're held in stasis. I'm not really sure. The article really doesn't go into that part of it. They say they are alive. That's what they know, and they're subsisting on gases of some kind. So that's where we leave that. You know,
we are in this kind of crazy holiday period, and if we could, I'd like to go to this article we have in here about the 16 organic antibiotics and antibacterials that should be in every home. You know, we're in the winter. We're kind of at the heart of the winter season.
Right.
We're kind of at a point where flu season, if it's going to happen, may happen. We know that research has shown the flu vaccine is not effective nor safe. And actually many people are getting sick after having it. So there are actually natural antibiotics, natural herbs, natural plants, and foodstuffs that you might have in your own cupboard and ought to have in your house to help fortify your immune system, keep you strong to fight off these kind of threats.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you go into some people's homes that are much older than you are, and I remember this at my grandmother's house in Holland. She had lots of little different things that I never recognized that we didn't have, and she used those medicinally. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, the wisdom of the grandma, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be right back to share that info with you.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Grandmother has little certain things in her cupboard that
Her
you
little
don't have
magic.
at home. Little magic things. Sometimes they're in the kitchen, sometimes they're in the bathroom. But my grandmother had these little potions that seemed to work
Lotions
pretty
and
well.
potions. Folks, look at our telestrator there. These are 16 organic antibiotics and antibacterials that should be in every home. That is what a medicine cabinet should look like. That is a healing cabinet. And we want to go over these things and grab a piece of paper so you can make a shopping list and have these things on hand, because if you use these substances at first onset, you can very often just turn things right around.
Yes, in fact, I was telling you during the break, I had a little scrape, fingernail hit me on my
At jiu-jitsu?
hand at jiu-jitsu, and I was bleeding all over the place. I got up and I had a white gi on, and there was blood all over it, and I didn't notice anything, and then I noticed in my hand here. So I went to my little kit, and I had a little cayenne pepper there, boom, 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 stopped immediately.
And as I told you, a lot of people aren't aware that cayenne pepper is something people should have, like in their purse or in their wallets or in their cars, because it's intelligent.
Yes.
It will stop bleeding on a wound.
Immediately.
Encourage clotting.
Yes.
However, if someone is having a heart attack or a stroke, you want to give them cayenne pepper in their mouth. It will stop clotting in the bloodstream. Is that cool? Is nature cool or what?
Okay, number
Let's
one
go
on the
over.
list. Okay, it's oil of oregano pills.
Yep. And
or
this
in
is
oil
really...
form, too, I would think, right?
Oh, you can have it in a liquid or a
I
pill.
would
Yeah,
prefer the
exactly.
liquid, probably.
Well, I'll tell you the thing about oil of oregano. For a lot of people, it's rather powerful. You know, it kind of burns a little bit. So, you know, you want to maybe dilute it in an oil or something, but some of the better oils you can encapsulate yourself. But it's very potent. It takes 1,000 pounds of oregano to make 1 pound of oil. And you want the ones that have, you know, really good active ingredients. It's a antibiotic, antiviral, antifungal, etc.
Many sources recommend taking oil of oregano for only 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah, the active ingredient is carvacrol, which is the active phytochemical in oil of oregano. And yes, indeed, you want to use it for a period of time. It wipes things out. It can also kind of be a little bit of an attack on your good stuff too. So.
Okay. So number 2 is olive leaf. Olive leaf is the leaf of an olive tree and is a very popular herbal antibiotic alternative.
I also think it's quite antiviral. It helps viruses to stop from replicating, and very can help with MRSA, which is it says it's antifungal. Number 3, garlic cloves. You start to feel like you got something going on, rub the bottom of your feet. Hey, this isn't medical advice. These are just, you know, wisdom things here, right? You know, old wives' tale would have you rub some olive oil on your feet, because garlic, again, has that power to burn. But you put little cloves on the bottom of your feet, you'll sweat, you'll stink like garlic, but you'll be well the next day.
Very good. Research says many studies confirm its antimicrobial properties. One study showed that garlic enhanced the action of antibiotic gentamicin, and even negated its negative effects on the kidneys. Another one showed that garlic to shorten the common cold. Like you said, it's also, so it's antifungal and antiviral.
Wow, wow.
Number 4.
Golden seal. You've heard about golden seal? This is a very astringent herb and is often used for infections of the mucous membranes, maybe sinuses, head colds. It's used for inflammation, and it contains a lot of antibacterial alkaloids, and the main one being berberine. Now, that's interesting because berberine really helps us to absorb nutrition and is used in a lot of products to also help lower blood sugar. Makes you wonder how much.
Too, yeah.
And they're using it in MRSA and other things. And many people that have had bacterial infections experience an 87% recovery rate. That's pretty
high.
Yeah. How about vitamin C, folks?
Yeah, well, this is common knowledge. I think we've been studying this ever since the 60s, and knowing that high doses of this does make some great changes.
Yeah, and this is a stressful time of year, folks. Your vitamin C gets depleted, so you want to, you know, even if you want to take the ones that are chewables, leave them out on the counter. If your kids walk by, let them eat a vitamin C. I mean, it's almost like having a little piece of candy. I was going through the grocery store the other day, and I saw some of those little gummy ones. I bought them for myself. I put them in the car, so I just eat them like a little treat.
Yeah, and you can't get resistant from these things either.
No,
They've proven that over and over again.
And number 6, echinacea, which is also a completely wonderful antibacterial, really addresses the respiratory system and the genitourinary tract. So if you start to feel a sore throat, but I like to say echinacea is good to boost your immune system before you get sick. So it's not a bad idea to, you know, drink some echinacea tea in the fall or right now,
good
just to kind of, if you're not sick, use it to really boost it.
Yeah. Number 7.
And we've got andrographis. Andrographis is an excellent herb for fighting all kinds of infections. And one of my other favorites is Manuka honey. Manuka honey is a tremendously powerful antibacterial. It's excellent for wounds and effective against MRSA. And folks, we need to be concerned because MRSA is, I call it the hospital infection. You really don't hear about people getting it until they get in the hospital.
Yeah, and a lot of gyms have it too. It spreads there. So, yeah, the honey is good. The bee propolis is another one that is antibiotic, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and it's good for respiratory infections also.
And here's another favorite, colloidal silver, guys. It's an antibacterial, doesn't destroy the good bacteria. It really works great for upper respiratory or toothaches. I don't know if people were aware of that.
I didn't.
And colloidal silver kills over 600 different germ strains. You know, it's used in hospitals a lot. You know, you got to look at what the hospitals really use. They don't tell you. Like, what's the first thing they do? They give you salt. They give you magnesium when you come in, right? They give you fluids. And they clean with iodine, betadine, and they use silver in wounds. So let's go to Oregon grape. It's also an excellent antibacterial. And the tea tree oil, which comes from the Melaleuca plant.
Yeah.
Grapefruit seed extract is an excellent antifungal. It's often used in supplements to preserve them. And it's very broad spectrum and also helps with parasites.
Yeah, it's interesting that seeds do have properties on a very small level. They have powerful properties, and that's maybe why wheat and rice and things like that do cause us digestive problems, and why our ancestors scraped the heck out of these things and figured out how to eat these things, and today we seem to have forgotten it.
This is unusual. I haven't heard of this. I'm going to have to look it up. Forsythia suspensia, which is a broad-spectrum antibiotic. And a lot of people didn't realize that CoQ10, and we've talked a lot about how CoQ10 is depleted when people are on statins. It's you get this nutrient mostly from animal foods, but I've also heard of a lot of people who have dental health issues, where their gums are diseased or they have gingivitis. If they really boost their CoQ10, those pockets tighten up, because we know a lot of the heart disease starts in the mouth with the gums and unhealthy teeth. Yeah, and then finally, one of my favorites, bromelain. Bromelain is the enzyme that you find in the pineapple, and it's extremely antibiotic and really helps with upper respiratory. So again, breaks up
Is this the white stuff in
the power in the white stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the really effective part in the pineapple is the stem. Most people throw it away. It's like where the leaves are coming out. But the enzymes in
you can almost pick that whole thing out like a little tree.
Right. Why do you think, like a lot of cultures in the South Pacific, maybe they have a pig roast, they eat pineapple with it because it helps to break the protein.
Good enzymes
so,
in there.
Take that list, reverse our video, make that shopping list, build your natural apothecary at home, stay healthy through this holiday, unstressed and healthy, and build your immune system, and join us on the next show. Have a great day.
No, we have another.
Oh, we do? Oh, God.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Welcome back to our last segment. I apologize. I guess I'm in a hurry to get out of here this morning, but
Got stuff on your mind, huh?
Yeah. How do you let's be a hero and learn about the zero diet.
Well, interesting article, the Zero Diet, A Cure for Syndrome Zero. This was actually published in 2007. So talk about being ahead of the game.
Well, Dr. Al Sears has always been ahead of the game. Yeah. He was cool before, with kind of food and getting rid of the inflammatory foods before it was cool.
Yeah, so this is a practice that they started, the Zero Diet. Many of my employees, he says, has been doing this at home. They've come up with some great recipes. There's not much recipes you need for a Zero Diet.
You know, Dr. Al Sears is really cool because he travels, he finds different herbal things. He's got an anti-aging practice over here on the East Coast of Florida.
We should mention that Zero Diet means zero carbs.
Yeah, that's what is the Zero Diet.
And we've been talking about that for quite a while, and I don't follow a zero carb, but I'm really close to it a lot of the times. So
well, let's see what he says. He says, let me tell you why you should follow a Zero Diet. Maybe we should all do this after Christmas.
I'm doing it right now. So it
well,
doesn't
yeah,
bother me.
but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Some of us aren't as cool as you.
Well, it's not cool. It's just
As
easy.
disciplined. Okay. Dr. Sears' zero diet is high in fat with moderate amounts of protein. Well, this is kind of the way we like to go.
Yes.
It contains 0 to near 0 levels of carbohydrates. When you eat this way, carbs don't trigger insulin, so your body isn't told to go store that stuff for a rainy day. And since your body doesn't have carbs to burn for fuel, you have to burn fat, and this is known as ketosis. So
Yes, so he recommends this, and he says go super low carb. Did you know that your daily recommendation for carbs is 0? You don't need carbs at all. You can easily make carbs from fat or protein. Carbohydrates should make up no more than 5 or 10% of your total calories. This is the way.
I like what he said. Every single person on the planet was born into a state of ketosis. In fact, it's the way we all lived until the introduction of agriculture. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. But we are actually born into ketosis. Mother's milk is like 75% fat.
That's right. It's a good thing. So, of course, choose the right fats, avoid trans fat and the so-called vegetable oils and things like that. He also recommends NCT oil. But he says eat plenty of protein. You know, beef, organ meats, fish, poultry, eggs are the best choices of
And I
protein.
think the key word is adequate protein. Wisely spread so you can use it and not store it. And then focus on your glycemic index. The GI measures how quickly foods break down into sugar in your bloodstream, and high glycemic foods turn into blood sugar very quickly. And his office has done a cook-off, he says. And his office staff had to create recipes, and the winning recipe was bacon-wrapped meatloaf. Very interesting. And he shares a recipe with us.
And they'll put this in the upcoming newsletter at the beginning of the year.
Sure. Well, I think what we're hearing, in reality, this is a tough time. If you haven't migrated to being a fat burner or using more fat for fuels,
probably so.
Don't take yourself so seriously. My grandmother used to say. We'll get to it. In the new year.
It's a no-brainer because what happens is when you eat enough healthy fat, you're so satisfied you don't want to eat anymore, so the protein goes down. You don't eat any carbs, so you don't have any problems digestive-wise. It's just a very easy diet, and it's easy to fix. It's easy to go out and get something. Even if the quality isn't there, you're better off with the meat.
Yeah, and I think, let's say proteins, we need these building blocks, and that's one of the things that we've learned is that really we need to have these proteins. And I'm going to come back with some counter-arguments in the new year a little bit because, despite knowing all of these things, I've struggled with some weight issues this year, and I found out it's some thyroid issues that are kind of going wacky, probably this menopausal period time stuff. But long story short, there may be times that you need to have some well-placed carbs.
Sure, I agree.
And in different metabolic situations or when you're trying to reverse something. So we're not caught on one thing. Do what's right for you, and make sure what you do is tune into living a primal lifestyle.
And this is the last segment.
See you next show.
Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.